Hi, everybody. Welcome into Sports Talk Chicago. My name's Jon Zaghloul. Great to have you here on Channel 59.3 BPOD TV and Roku. Big show for you today. The Blackhawks fired Jeremy Colliton. We'll talk about what it means in just a moment. Before we get started, make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook at Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of these shows, special clips, and interviews, all you have to do is search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. If you want to watch more shows from the BPOD TV network, search up BPOD TV on YouTube. I want to start today with this. When you hear the word Chicago Blackhawks, what comes to mind? Winning, right? Success. Jonathan Toews, Patrick King, Joel Quenneville. Maybe Stan Bowman. Jeremy Colliton. 3 Stanley Cups. The Chicago Blackhawks have fostered a culture of winning. They're the only team in Chicago who actually have expectations, usually, when they're not rebuilding or spending a lot of money on guys that don't perform. They're a winning organization, winning culture, good team for the most part, great players. Dominance. For a period of time, they were the best team in the NHL. No question. They had everything. All the pieces worked together. Developed good players, signed some good free agents. Great coach. I love Joel Quenneville. They were the toast of the NHL. That's why when I sit here and make this video today, I'm pretty shocked at the downfall they've had since not even the end of Quenneville, but just in the past week or so. You can't really quantify what they've been through as an organization recently. I know about the Kyle Beach allegations and all that came out regarding that. That is horrible. And the fact that that was ignored or not even taken care of and winning was prioritized doesn't sit right with me. I'm sure many of you felt the same way. Look, at the end of the day, it's all about fostering a safe environment, not winning. Winning's important, don't get me wrong, not more important than that. And the Blackhawks let it go. All those guys involved, some of them good hockey minds, are out of the game now for good, and they should be. Joel Quenneville included, who knew about this and didn't do a thing. They were worried about disrupting the team chemistry. What about misleading people? Ever think about that? See, everybody praised the Blackhawks for years. Even to this day, when you think of the Blackhawks, what did I say? You think of success, winning. But now, all of that's tainted. You think about what was going on behind the scenes during those championship years. What really happened that we don't know about? And we'll probably never know the full details or the full scope. It was just brushed off to the side. Who cares? Move on. Let's keep winning. They made tons of memories for Chicagoans that I don't even feel that good. Doesn't feel good. And when the Hawks decided to finally make a coaching change, even though personnel wasn't there, they fired Joel Quenneville. They brought in a man by the name of Jeremy Colliton, promoted him from the Rockford AHL affiliate, and said, here you go. You're our head coach. Good luck. Bad roster, 500 already, and in 4 seasons, all of them not even complete ones, Colliton couldn't even produce an above 500 record. 87, 92, and 26. This is from David Haw, a frequent guest on this program. Quote, he assembled a record over 4 partial seasons that hardly made a convincing case for him to stay. Quote, Colliton's new defensive system, the heavily scrutinized man-and-a-half approach, never took hold offensively. The Hawks had too much skill and speed to score so inconsistently. Structure lacked, as one source put it. Communication improved, but also had nowhere to go but up. Remember, 10 months ago, Colliton signed an extension under Stan Bowman, who now has been fired. And this was expected, this move. When you fire Stan Bowman, the GM who hired Colliton, who was so high on Colliton, you assumed that he really wasn't going to be around too much longer. We know Bowman was fired for other reasons, but regardless, the Hawks were not performing this year. They weren't. I've seen some people say, well, the deck was stacked against Colliton. Maybe it was. I'll say that, sure. Didn't have the group they had when they won the Stanley Cup. I mean, Joe Quenneville was 6-6 when they fired him and brought in Colliton, so things were already going down. Things weren't the same. Hawks had the nice run after COVID, getting into the playoffs and wreaking havoc. But the fact of the matter is that regular season wasn't good. And this year, it really sunk to an all-time low. I've never seen the Hawks start like this. 2-9-2, 6 points. You know, everybody on the team is a negative plus-minus. Marc-Andre Fleury, whom the Hawks touted, was a great signing. He's given up 4 goals per game on average. 4.1. 4.1. Kevin Lankinen's doing better. And I wasn't even high on Lankinen. I was concerned about him because he didn't have a lot of experience, came from Rockford. You're coming up to the majors or the NHL. It's a way different game. Where was I wrong? Now, yes, the defensive front hasn't been good. And it's been hard for Fleury to stop 30, 40 shots a game, but still, 4 goals per game, he's not going to get it done. By the way, I find it funny, too. So, Fleury wasn't even sure if he wanted to play for the Blackhawks. Remember, in the offseason? He said, well, I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I'm pretty mad that I'm leaving Las Vegas. I don't know if I want to play for another team. He eventually opted to play because he thought this team would be going in the right direction, and now they're 2-9-2. And I guess that's prompted him to play like that as a goalie. And his save percentage is .881. That is atrocious. That's minor league goalie stuff. Need to have at least 90%, and that's bare minimum here. Bare minimum is 90%. Lankinen is a much better, 89.1. So the Hawks goalies can't stop the puck from going in. The defense won't stop shots on net, and the offense is anemic. Now, they had a nice win last night. First game without Colliton, 2-1 over Nashville. Pretty good win. And the Hawks have also mentioned that they will not be hiring a new head coach till after the season. Also smart. I like that move. Why go out and hire a head coach when you don't even have a GM yet? This has just been a shocking fall from grace. Regardless. You could try and spin it any way you want, but I would have never expected this sort of start to the season. Because see, it's worse. Worse than just, 2-9-2 record, bad start, fire the coach. No. We're talking about the teams that everybody worshipped, that everybody loved. The successful ones. The ones that defined an era in Chicago sports. When everybody else sucked, they were good. Now those are tainted. Their success is tainted. And currently, they're one of the worst teams in the NHL when they were supposed to be pretty good. I've had guests on this program. We've talked about it. Chris Bowden, who's going to come out again this week, thought they'd be a good team. They went out, spent money, and everybody thought this was going to be a good year, a better year for the Blackhawks. The rebuild was supposedly almost over, and it turns out they might be back at square one. They spent a lot of money this offseason, and they're getting nothing from nobody. They just signed Seth Jones to a big contract, paying him $9.5 million per year. Not doing much. That was a big signing, supposedly. He's not performing. Marc-Andre Fleury, definitely not performing. You lose a head coach, lost your GM, you have a big scandal, it's taken the NHL by storm, and has effectively nullified all of your past success. You want to talk about an implosion? This is an implosion. I've said in the past, the Bears have officially imploded, right? You know that if you subscribe to the channel for a while. With all due respect to the Hawks and the Bears here, this is far worse. I may not like Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace, and the whole crew, but they, I would hope, wouldn't cover up a sexual assault case or wins. And the Bears aren't 2-9-2. So funny, too, this offseason, before all the free agency got started, the Hawks were considering getting rid of Stan Bowman. He got a contract extension anyway. And he went out and made these moves. Everybody was happy. Everybody thought, okay, he's changed. He didn't. None of these guys can play. Plain and simple. You doled out tons of money, and here's the worst part, Hawks fans. Here's what you got to think about. The guy who gave out all this money, who hurt you cap-wise for years to come, is fired. What GM would love to come into a situation like this? Got to hire a new coach, little cap room to work with, and a team that's floundering. That's scary. I mean, I can't even think of the next time the Hawks will be good again right now. It doesn't even come to mind. You tell me who'd love to inherit this situation. You have a PR problem, obviously, with the Kyle Beach incident. So all of your past is nullified. You spent tons of money. The OGM spent tons of money this offseason. No one's performing. You're cash strapped for the next couple of years. No head coach. And you're 2-9-2. For the Hawks' sake, I hope they improve. Because if they don't, they stay at a 2-9-2 equivalency for the rest of the year. Guess what? Who's going to come here? Who's going to want to deal with this? This organization right now is at a rock bottom. I guess on the bright side, the only way to go is up, but still. Who's going to be willing to make this team better? Who's going to be willing to put everything in the past and move forward and try and do better for the organization? When you're sitting at a point like this is going to take years of work. This won't be just a simple, quick snap of the finger solution. We're talking about years of rebuilding. After supposedly a rebuild was already completed. Everybody touted the Blackhawks this offseason. Hey, the rebuild's over. Hey, they're going to be good now. They're worse than ever. I mean, look at these numbers. Goals for, 25th out of 32 in the NHL. Goals against, 31st out of 32nd. They've given up the second most goals in the NHL entirely. After going out and getting a goalie. I remember I had Ben Pope on from the Chicago Sun-Times after last season. And he said the number one concern right now, goalie position. They go out, bring in a great goalie, Marc-Andre Fleury. Now they're 31st in the NHL in goals given up. And they paid him to come here. The defense has been worse. I've never really seen just a worse situation across the board. Really. Because you lose everything here. You lose the nostalgia. There's no nostalgia anymore for this team after all that happened, after how tainted the Stanley Cups are. You have very few players whom you recognize on this team now, and the guys who you do know aren't performing. You fire your head coach, you fire your GM. It's a madhouse. And no wonder why the Hawks are no longer selling out. Their streak of sellouts broke this year. Bad. And now attendance is really dwindling. It's like a stock market crash. I mean, everything that you could think of that went wrong for this team. And there's no signs of it getting better yet. No one's going to forget about what happened with Kyle Beach. No one's going to forget about this team starting like this. You can't. You're cap strapped for years to come. So you can't forget about this. The finances, the money, the salaries will always remind you of what happened this past offseason. And you will not, and I repeat this, you will not find the best top-of-the-line GM candidates or president of hockey operation candidates with this situation. You might find somebody trying to make a name for himself, and that's great. Maybe it'll work. But you won't find a top-of-the-line guy. Not with this going on. Nobody wants to be near the Blackhawks right now. Nobody. It's just a really tough situation. I feel for some of the younger players who weren't a part of the past and who are here trying their best every day. But for everybody else, it's just a shame how far they've sunk. They put a lot of work into making their image better. I mean, we're talking about a team here who never even televised their home games. They put a lot of work into being better. Hashtag one goal, right? Marketing campaigns. Trying to get the word out. NBC Sports Chicago. Aaron Gaines. Winning 3 Stanley Cups. Want to talk about a team resurrecting their brand? They did a great job. How it all goes down and means nothing. It's a really tough spot. And it's a shame. For years, even up until all this news came out, they were the most successful team recently in Chicago sports. I know everybody's not a hockey person. I get it. You have to acknowledge the fact that they were much more successful in the past 10, 15 years than the Bears, Cubs, White Sox, Bulls. Even with the Cubs winning the World Series. Yeah, I'll take 3 Stanley Cups over 1 World Series. They did it right. They weren't like the Cubs. Nobody got complacent and lazy. Now the core's gone. No, they kept the core. They wanted more, and they got more. This fall is unprecedented. And I'm young. I know maybe I haven't seen falls from the past, but in my lifetime, this is a pretty drastic fall for a sports franchise. Losing nostalgia, even. They lost the one marketing gimmick that could have kept them relevant. All because personnel at the time didn't take a sexual assault case seriously. They've lost everything. And I don't know how long it's going to take for them to rebuild trust with their fans, to gain new fans, and to be a better hockey team on the ice. It's just a long way to go. It's a very bleak future for this team. You know what? They deserve it too. Based on their actions with Kyle Beach, based on the way the team's been handled over the past 5 or 6 years, it hasn't been good. Now they find themselves without a GM, without a coach, and their storied history blemished forever. That's a shame. But maybe next time you do the right thing. See, it might have been difficult, but if you did the right thing, who's to say you would have lost the Stanley Cup? Who's to say anything would have gone wrong? They chose not to. And now today, the Hawks are a laughingstock in the NHL, and there's no timetable for them to return to the top. Thanks for watching today's show here on BPOD TV, channel 59.3 in Roku. Really appreciate the time. Make sure you follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Jon Z Sports and on Facebook, Jon Zaghloul. If you want to watch more of this show, search up Sports Talk Chicago on YouTube or go to sportstalkchicago.com. Big interviews this week. Chris Bowden from WGN and Rob Motti from the AP. Some great hockey and football talk and Bears talk, too, coming your way this week on BPOD TV. So long.